Survived the beginning of the new work week. I'm excited to come to you live tonight. A couple of stories. It hasn't been as crazy of a day as it's been the past few weeks. Thank goodness. State legislatures are, a lot of them are out of session, so things are starting to calm down. But I have an outrageous story to share with you that I just saw come up on my social media. The quote from the BBC is this: South Korea to target powdered human flesh capsules. South Korea has announced to the BBC that it will increase customs inspections targeting capsules containing powdered human flesh. Korean Customs has said they have found almost 17,500 capsules being smuggled in the country from China, of course, since August 2011. The powdered flesh, which officials say come from dead babies and fetuses, is reportedly thought by some to cure disease and boost stamina. But officials also say the capsules are full of bacteria and are a major health risk. Yeah, literally, it's actually interesting on college campuses. A lot of times when abortion advocates get mad at Students for Life staff for being out there tabling about abortion, we'll actually hear from students who will like hold up signs and say like crazy things like, I like to eat babies for breakfast. Yeah, and some people in China actually do, and they're trying to smuggle those capsules into South Korea. There's so much things I could say about COVID right now. I'll probably get censored if I do, so I won't. But I'm just saying, capsules containing the human flesh of dead babies or unborn babies, fetuses, are being smuggled into South Korea. We know that this has been a thing. This has been a thing for a long time, sadly, because some people feel that eating the flesh of human beings, babies, is a good thing. Yeah. Okay. So it's story number one. Story number two. This I saw today, 5:38. This is like a political magazine blog in DC area. Abortion is already tripping up the 2024 presidential candidates. This is There's an interesting quote on in this. It says, ask 6 Republican candidates for president whether they think there should be a national ban on abortion, and you'll get at least 7 different answers. In the past 2 months, current prospective candidates have committed various points to the general idea of a federal ban on abortion, maybe 15 weeks. Some said it was a states' rights issue, but they're looking at alternatives. They expressed support for 6-week bans at state level, while declining to say whether they think a national version would be appropriate. And some said they support efforts to get a widely used abortion drug off the market, chemical abortion pills. Of course they should. This is coupled with the clip that I saw today of Nikki Haley speaking in Iowa. It was like a CNN town hall where she kept talking and kept saying the word consensus over and over again, saying that she supports, preventing abortions, later term pregnancy, supporting medical professionals, doctors, and nurses who don't want to commit abortions and violate their conscience. Supporting like foster care, adoption initiatives, all without like actually taking a position on the majority of abortions that happen in our country, which is in the first trimester. So right now, if you're looking for supporting someone who's like gun ho on being a pro-life gen member, Nikki Haley is not really taking that bold, courageous leadership that we've been looking for. So do better. This week, I'm very excited. On Wednesday, Vice President Mike Pence will actually be announcing his run for president. Mike Pence has been a solid 100% pro-life leader. When he was in the House of Representatives, he introduced the first defund Planned Parenthood bill when he was a governor in Indiana, when he was vice president. So I'm actually really excited for him to enter the race, because I think just him being there is going to make a tremendous difference in forcing the other candidates to actually have to say what they believe and what they will do as president of the United States to end the scourge and the violence of abortion throughout America. Because we all know Abortion is a federal issue. It's a state issue. It's also a local issue. And if you don't know abortion is a federal issue, you shouldn't be running for federal office. It's very, very simple. I mean, Joe Biden and the Democrats have perfectly demonstrated all the ways abortion is a federal issue just in the past couple months. I mean, and they didn't even stop at HHS. They went to DOJ, the postal workers, the Department of Defense, paying for abortions for military members overseas, Department of State forcing countries that we give aid to actually guarantee a right to abortion. They have done everything possible to promote abortion. So Democrats clearly understand that there is a way to fight for killing babies using the federal government. If only Republicans would get all on board that there's a way to stop it using the federal government too. And the pro-life movement, actually, we're not asking, we're demanding it. All right, so last story we'll talk to you about today. Sorry, my allergies. I took a walk and my allergies are not so good here on the East Coast. All right, last article. The American birth rate is plummeting, but not in some states. This is a really interesting article. I've talked a lot recently. I had a podcast not long ago talking about Elon Musk's comments about how, the greatest threat he believes to civilization is declining birth rate, not AI, which was actually surprising for me. But I couldn't agree more. But this is an interesting article because this is a different study where they were looking at how can you determine if there's going to be low birth rates in a state? And they looked at 3 factors that statistically predict a higher or lower birth rates in a state. So the first factor that determines birth rates in a state, whether they're going to be high or low, is the state's cost of living. A lower cost of living is associated with a higher birth rate, which makes sense, right? If you can't afford to buy a house, a lot of people will say, well, I can't afford to have a child, right? So that makes sense. And by the way, all the places that's really expensive to live are usually the Democrat places. But, big cities, big taxes and high crime rates and whatever. Okay, second factor, the share of residents who seldom or never attend religious services with a lower connection to organized religion associated to lower birth rates. Duh. It doesn't take a genius to figure this one out. I mean, where are all the big families in your town? Where are all the minivans and 15-passenger vans parking on Sunday morning? It's not the shopping mall. It's the church parking lot. This just makes sense, okay? Families who are religious and are devout to their faith are more likely to have more kids. Oh, they're also, by the way, married couples are more likely to have better sex. My kids are still awake. Every study proves that, right? The more religiously devout you are and committed you are to your partner, the better sex you have. All right, the third factor for predicting birth rates in a state, this one is, there's a lot I can say. It's probably going to get me in trouble in this one because this also is a duh one for me. The 2020 vote for President Biden. States that gave Biden the largest share have the lowest birth rates. Of all the factors, the vote for President Biden was the strongest predictor of a low birth rate. Joe Biden is literally a baby buzzkill. Not only is he a bad grandpa because he refuses to acknowledge one of his granddaughters because that isn't cool because Hunter Biden had her out of wedlock, so therefore she doesn't matter. This is how he treats preborn babies across the country based on their circumstances of conception. He's a bad grandpa, but he's also a baby buzzkill. Why, perchance, do Democrat voters are they not having babies? I can think of a lot of reasons. I mean, the study I talked about just, I think, a week and a half ago mentions younger people basically saying it's in the 30 percentile that they just don't want to have kids, that they want to spend their money on life experiences, trips, expensive golden doodles. I have one. They don't want to spend their money on kids. It's called selfishness, and it's actually it's bad. And selfishness spreads. It's toxic, and it's really bad for you and for our whole country. Because if you go back to the Elon Musk comments, you can just Google this on your own. Declining birth rates affects everything for our national viability. It jeopardizes pension systems. It jeopardizes Social Security. It's a huge drag on our economy. If you're not growing, what are you doing? You're declining. So be pro-life, have babies, or just don't kill your babies, and place your child with adoptive families. It's okay to be pro-life. That's a good message to have. And I think when we look back in the history of like the pro-life movement and this whole struggle against the violence of abortion, this will be one of the things they talk about, is how pro-lifers were the consistent voices for replacement value. As you all know, we've dipped well below replacement value in the United States of America, just like Europe. And this is a major problem, economic problem, that countries are going to have to deal with. So those are my pro-life thoughts tonight, Pro-Life Gen News in my PJs. I'll see you tomorrow.